Is the fall a key time for races with open primaries? Candidates are jostling to get fame through debates, try to get donations, but this week's debate on the GOP side was widely panned. Republicans are really seeing these debates as second-tier events when the frontrunner has again skipped it, Trump holding a Michigan event instead. And we can tell the typical Republican viewers tuned out, the audience crashing to its lowest rate in 8 years. And that response actually affirms Trump's strategy. It also means fewer Republicans are watching when his rivals try to hammer him over skipping the debate. And that is a fine thing they can bring up. They've certainly tried, although it might have ultimately helped Chris Christie that fewer people saw him make his failed foray into Disney stand-up comedy.
You're ducking these things. No one up here is going to call you Donald Trump anymore.
No. You're not that. You're Kill. You.
We're going to call you Donald Duck.
All right. I want to ask Governor DeSantis, you fired.
We checked. Thus far, we're not finding more people are publicly calling him Donald Duck. Get it? The duck is a pun. Of course, we have to be careful. Glass houses and all that. Ron DeSantis also hit Trump for skipping the debate. And I got to tell you, we were actually discussing this that very night in our MSNBC post-debate coverage, how all of the things that you could go after Trump for, all of the shortcomings, skipping the debates is the one thing Republicans are attacking. All they had was a kind of a political complaint that it's not fair that he's treating them and their debate tonight like it doesn't matter. That was the one thing that more than one of them, Christie and DeSantis and others, criticized.
To our colleague Ari's point from earlier this evening, you would think in hearing today's candidates talk about Donald Trump that the worst thing he ever did was not appear at this debate tonight.
Sometimes Rachel says it better than really anyone could. That's the worst thing. So, number one, we have a lot of evidence skipping these debates that people are tuning out of is not the number one issue for voters in this economy with everything going on. And two, I want to share with you tonight, there is historical evidence skipping debates used to be a drag on a candidate, especially when it's seen as snubbing, for example, a state or voting bloc. It definitely hurt Reagan to skip the Des Moines debate. Many say it's why he plummeted and then fumbled Iowa. You see the numbers there. Now, Trump is not known as a history buff, and he seemed to repeat that Reagan mistake in the same state in 2016. Remember, he then lost the state to Ted Cruz. It was a memorable error, as the Times put it, for the normally PR-focused Trump. And he had blustered about skipping other debates, but he then changed gears. He participated in New Hampshire and stayed in those remaining debates when he got a lead in that first primary. So what is different now? Well, this is what I want to talk to you about here as we end the week. Trump's running a kind of a Rose Garden strategy without a Rose Garden. He's posturing as basically the kind of incumbent who views these candidates the same way Biden might view a Cornel West debate offer, as really not necessary to do. And the polling does back that up. A recent effort, even by a conservative group, to damage Trump, who leads all these others by a lot, found Republicans rationalize Trump behavior they would oppose in others. And there's data on a potential ad that was going to go after Trump for the insurrection, and it showed, according to these conservative critics, running that ad actually helped Trump, so they didn't even bother. So history can be instructive, but it has limits. Former presidents rarely run in primaries. You have to go back to Herbert Hoover, who tried for his party nomination again in 1940, years after he lost the presidency and lost. So in this modern era of TV and internet and these debates, you don't have any examples of this. Direct comparisons are limited. Trump is combining his White House cred on the right with a kind of a strongman streak in a party that increasingly welcomes it. And this is where the political science meets the kind of ethics and democracy crisis we faced as a nation. Because just as Donald Trump defied democracy in the general election, we all lived through that, and there was a conviction around that today, Donald Trump is not even pretending to value democracy in a party primary. Pull back from the data and the political science, and I leave you with this. His argument out loud, not only to the debates, but to the entire GOP primary process, is not voters can weigh options, may the best Republican win. No. His argument increasingly is Donald Trump telling Republicans he's not only the best, but he's the only option.